So this is the No Name Podcast presented by Big C. I am your host, Colton Sutley, also known as Big C. Um, in this episode 13, we're gonna go over the NFL and the football, college football, and some sprint car racing. Um, so that game, the Steelers Bengals game. Oh my God, dude! If you were a Steelers fan, I'm a Steelers fan, and I was going nut. Like I was just we shouldn't have won that game. We should not have won that game. It was bad. Um, the offensive line did not look good. I thought Mitch didn't do too bad because he didn't have protection and stuff. The whole offense just was bad, and a lot leads back. All of it, or a lot of it leads back to the offensive line. I thought Matt Canada has some good play calls and stuff, but we got lucky that our defense is like great, like going off on the Bengals. Like what Joe Burrow had like 4 interceptions or something like that, and there was a couple fumbles. Like I think there was like a total of 7 turnovers. That's like we should have won that game by a lot more, just based off the turnover difference. And I TJ Watt's hurt. He's gonna be out for at least I think like 6 weeks. That's gonna hurt. I feel like we're gonna struggle some. Not to say that like he is the main reason our defense is good, but when you have a guy that just disrupts, a difference maker like him, you can't replace him with like just one guy, or like it's gonna be tough. We still got Cam Hayward, but I think he got banged up as well. So, and but he's like more on the interior. But like you need that edge rusher, that difference maker at the edge. If you look at teams like actually the teams in the AFC West, they went after to like compete with Patrick Mahomes. They went, the Chargers got Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, like two great ends, to like rush the passer. The Raiders got Chandler Jones and Nagaku from that used to be on the Jaguars. I think he's on the Raiders right now currently as well. But they got a couple or maybe not. Maybe he's not on there. But they got Max Crosby. Can't believe I've forgotten that guy. He's a stud. The Broncos got Bradley Chubb, who's done good. I think he's been hurt in his career, and I want to say they got somebody else, but like you just look around the league and like see how important that edge rusher is, and like yeah, Alex Highsmith's like tied for the lead in sacks, but like a lot of that was because T.J. Watt was on the other side. Now he's gonna have all the focus on him, or Cam Hayward's gonna have all the focus on him. It's gonna be not just all about worrying about what TJ's gonna do. So it's gonna be different. I think Malik Reed, I believe that's his name, the outside backer we got from the Broncos that we traded for before the season. I think he'll do well. He's done decent and stuff, and I think the defense still should be pretty solid, but I don't think it'll be 7 turnovers, carrying the team to the victory type. So hopefully we get the offensive line sorted out and we can like win games. And hopefully we don't rush Najee back because he has a foot injury and stuff. But man, like there was a lot of good games in the NFL. One game that wasn't very good, but it was impressive, is how the Buffalo Bills dominated the Rams. They just straight up dominated. I had Matthew Stafford on my fantasy team starting. I wish I did not. I know somebody that had him and Cam Akers starting, so he had a rough day. But man, the Bills just dominated, and once again the pass rushers, Von Miller, they signed him in the offseason because he's a veteran. He might not be as explosive or as great as he was when he earlier in his career, but he still knows how to win with technique. Still got it, and they rotated their defensive line a lot I saw like a lot. I think they had like 10, like 8 to 10 guys rotating in and stuff, keeping them fresh, which is also I think helps a lot with winning football games. Is if you keep your defense as fresh as possible. Um, but Josh Allen is that dude. Like, man, the Rams really. I thought the Rams would have kept it more competitive, but they didn't. And I mean, they got like they had to go silent count on their home freaking stadium. You're home. Like, you should have it. You shouldn't have any problems with how loud it is. Um, the Tyreek Hill, you know how he's on the Dolphins now. Almost said he's on the Chiefs now, but the Chiefs did not miss a beat against the Cardinals without Tyreek. And then you got Tyreek over on the Dolphins saying about how Mike McDaniel, he's got a big, he needs a wheelbarrow or something because of going for it on 4th and 7 to beat the Patriots. So looks like below the other than the Bills and that AFC East, it's going to be interesting to see who comes in second and is fighting for one of those wild card spots, because you got Dolphins beat the Patriots. The Patriots are the Patriots, so they always will be solid as long as Belichick is still there. And then the Jets, I think, could be better, but they got beat by the Ravens pretty easily, but I think they could be better. The Colts and the Texans give us the first tie of the season. Yeah, that's kind of disappointing, but it looks like the Colts, I think, are very good. And coming into the season, I thought they were going to be very good, and then you got the Texans. I didn't think we're going to be that good, but it looks like they're going to be solid because they tied against a team that was red hot at the end of last year until they played the Jaguars. So that'll be interesting. Saquon is back. He had a great performance against the Titans. I actually saw a reel on Instagram of Derrick Henry getting lit up. Yeah. So the King got his crown, a little crooked there, I guess. Daniel Jones in that win against the Titans, I guess there was a stat I saw somewhere that said him and Josh Allen are the only two quarterbacks to have a certain stat, and I can't remember what it was. I should have wrote it down in my notes, but he must have played well. I mean, they got the victory in Tennessee against a good Titans team. I mean, I look for the Titans to do I actually do? No, I don't have them bouncing back next week. I'll go over the predictions here in a second, but the Packers lose to the Vikings. A lot of it is on the young wide receivers, like Christian Watson dropped a wide open pass. That would have been a great touchdown. I think he's going to be a stud, but Aaron Rodgers, man, hopefully those wide receivers step up, because that man can sling it still. I mean, he has Rob Tunyon, but you can't just have the offense be just tight end. You gotta have the wide receiver step up. Baker Mayfield did not get his revenge against the Browns, which I was kind of disappointed, but I guess he got booed by the Panthers fans, so that's going to be interesting to watch as the season goes on. The Bears beat the 49ers. Jared Baker, my apologies. He said, was it Sunday? I think it was. Either Saturday or Sunday, he told me that I said the 49ers are going to win and that Trey Lance is going to be a stud. I still think he's going to be a stud, but he said that the Bears were going to win, and he was correct in that. And hopefully, we'll see as the season progresses that Justin Fields and Trey Lance are both studs. I want to see everybody succeed in the NFL, and that it's kind of hard because there's so many people that are in the NFL or trying to be so. But the last thing I want to touch on is I'm gonna say probably the game of the week. The Seahawks beating the Denver Broncos. Geno Smith, baby. He is so back in 2012 when I was 11 years old, I became a West Virginia fan. And the reason why was they had Geno Smith dropping back, throwing to Tavon Austin and oh shoot, what was the other wide receiver's name? I'm actually gonna Google it. Oh what? I gotta remember his name. Like I can't believe I forget it. Stedman Bailey. I didn't even have to look it up. I'm like not even on completely on the screen yet. But Stedman Bailey, Tavon Austin. I believe Stedman Bailey should have been like if he didn't get. I believe he got shot in the head when he was in the NFL, and that's why like he didn't continue playing. But he was a stud. So was Tavon Austin. Everybody knows about Tavon Austin and how great he is, his highlight tape. But Stedman Bailey was also that dude. Like those two, having Geno Smith wrote to him like perfection. And actually, 2013 NFL draft was the first draft I really got big into, and Geno Smith and those two were in that draft. Geno Smith, I'm glad to see he's getting another opportunity. He looked very good. Yeah, he didn't go over 200 yards, but he didn't need to. He also didn't. He didn't. The way they were playing, great defense, good running game. Him making plays when he needed to, and most importantly for a quarterback, protecting that football. That's what he did. He did his job. I think the Seahawks would. Now, after that first game, I think they're going to surprise some people, including myself, and have a lot better season than what I originally thought they were going to. But Russ, I think the Broncos could have won if they didn't fumble on it, the fumble inside the 5-yard line twice. I believe Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon both did it. And 4th and 5, 64-yard field goal, bad decision. I mean, I guess it's okay if you have faith in your kicker, but like so they kicked it with 20 seconds left, but they had 56 seconds left in the game when that third down play ended. They let 35 seconds go off the clock before they called timeout. That's just bad. Bad, like, in the Manning telecast, you had Peyton Manning saying, call timeout at, like, 54 seconds, and he's like, come on, you better call it out. Better call it. And getting just frustrated because Nathaniel Hackett just let it go down to 20 seconds, then called it, decided to kick the field goal. It was long enough, wide left. Yeah, then called the last two timeouts as Geno Smith's taking knees to take that dub. Like, bad. Hopefully the Broncos can figure it out and get better and learn from this, but it's not looking very good. So before I start the predictions, I'm gonna go over my record for week 1. So with ties, with the Colts and the Texans tying, I'm gonna count that. Like, I'm gonna include ties as ties in this because that's like, I'm not gonna say half a win or half a loss or like whatever. So I'm just gonna have it as a tie. But I was 5-10-1 in my predictions for week 1. That's bad. But it gets better when I get to my college predictions. But for this week, for the games, so I have the Chiefs beating the Chargers. The Chargers won against the Raiders, but I feel like the Chiefs are just red. They're the Chiefs, so I think they're gonna take the win. I got the Patriots over the Steelers without TJ, and then Cam's banged up. Najee's banged up, but he's supposed to play. But the offensive line, I don't. It's Belichick, defensive genius. He's gonna. The Patriots are gonna beat the Steelers. The Giants are gonna beat the Panthers. I feel like they're coming red hot off that win against the Titans. The Panthers just lost at home to the Browns. And so, like, I feel like the Giants are going to carry the momentum and beat the Panthers. And I think Saquon may be back. I hope he is. He is a good running back when he is healthy. I hope he stays healthy. I have the Jets beating the Browns. I just feel like they're going to bounce back from that loss against the Ravens. And I feel like they got good weapons. I don't know if Zach Wilson's going to be able to play. I think Joe Flacco played week 1, and I think that's probably a big reason why they lost so bad. No offense to him. He was good back in the day, but now he's not so much. I have the Colts beating the Jaguars. I feel like they're going to try. The Colts are a good team. I feel like they're going to lock in and coming off of this tie and going to beat the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are just they had James Robinson and Travis Etienne play well last week against Washington, but I just feel like the Colts are gonna win. I have the Ravens beating the Dolphins. Lamar Jackson is a stud, and I feel like that defense is like I feel like the Ravens are a really well-rounded team. And I feel like the Dolphins, with the new staff and everything, they won week 1, but I feel like they won't win in week 2 just because with having new staff and stuff. I feel like at some point the bugs are going to bite, and I feel like it will be against the Ravens. The Saints are going to beat the Buccaneers. Dennis Allen is the head coach, and he's defensively locked up the Buccaneers for I don't know how many past years. I feel like it's going to continue. I just feel like that's going to be an upset this week. The Saints are going to beat the Bucs. The Lions, I have the Lions winning against the Commanders. Washington. Dan Campbell, Jamal Williams, Aiden Hutchinson. I just feel like those guys are going to be. They want to win. They want to win. They want to get in that Motor City vibing with a victory. So they're going to pull out a victory over the Commanders. I have the 49ers over the Seahawks. This was a hard pick. I was going to go with the Seahawks originally, but then I was like, oh, it's in San Francisco. So I'm like, they got the home field advantage. I feel like their defense I feel like their front seven is actually better than the Broncos, but I believe the Broncos' backs, defensive backs are better. But I just feel like Nick Bosa and them boys up front on the D-line and Fred Warner and his fellow backers are just going to be too much for the Seahawks. I feel like offensively, the 49ers will put something together where they can win. Trey Lance hopefully has a not backup game, but a bounce back game. And then I have the Rams beating the Falcons. I feel like the Rams are going to really work hard and lock in and try to bounce back from a very bad loss to the Bills. I was going to say tough, but it was just bad. The Falcons had a tough loss against the Saints. I just feel like the Falcons they don't have as much talent on their roster as a lot of other teams. So I feel like they're going to lose that one. I have the Raiders over the Cardinals. I feel like the Raiders are going to bounce back from the Chargers game. The Cardinals, there's stuff going on about Kyler Murray being too focused on playing video games or something. And I feel like I feel like the Raiders are like hungry. They want to win. Like they got Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, so like they're gonna bounce back. The Broncos are gonna beat the Texans. I feel like they're gonna bounce back. I feel like they're a better team offensively and defensively than the Texans. Um, the Bengals are gonna beat the Cowboys. Cowboys don't have Dak. The Bengals might not have T. Higgins, but I feel like that'll be okay. Um, because they got Tyler Boyd and of course Jamar Chase. But I just feel like the Cowboys without Dak are not good. Like they don't have who would have at quarterback? I don't even know. Somebody that isn't as good as Dak. So the Packers I feel are going to bounce back and beat the Bears. Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. So I feel like the young wide receivers are going to finally step up. Hopefully, if not, it might be a couple more weeks. And then I have the Bills beating the Titans. I feel like Josh Allen and them boys are just they're going to go dominate this year. I feel like they've lost too many close games in the playoffs the past few years. Josh Allen's like tired of he wants a Super Bowl. Von Miller wants another one. Like they're gonna go hard, and I feel like Titans will make it a closer game than the Rams did. But I just feel like the Bills I just feel like are gonna be the hot team this year. And then the last game of the week, I have the Eagles over the Vikings. I just feel like Jalen Hurts is gonna have a breakout year and be that dude for the Eagles. And I feel like the Vikings, they're going to still do good. I think they'll make it competitive, but I feel like Jalen Hurts will just be too much for them to handle. And I don't know. I could be wrong on. I'll probably be wrong on these predictions, but hopefully at the end of the season I'll have a winning percentage in that. Hopefully, at least make it to 500. But now moving on to college football. You thought so the NFL was crazy. Like the upsets and the close games and the kicking woos and everything. But man, number 8 Notre Dame at home loses to the Marshall Thundering Herd. That was a great game. Like if you thought that was one crazy game that wasn't big upset. Another game that ended shortly after that one was Appalachian State beat number 6 Texas A&M at home 17-14. On a booster money that's been turned into NIL deals to get the number 1 recruiting class doesn't mean crap. They suck. They sucked. Texas A&M has sucked this year in the 2 games they played. That money is being wasted. It's pathetic. I've saw some stuff that it's like the quarterback is holding them back. Well, obviously the defense can play pretty good, but they shouldn't be letting App State score 17 on them when they're supposed to be competing for the national title and dominating against Bama. It's bullcrap. You got the number 1 recruiting class. You got a bunch of young studs on defensive line. You got the best safety duo in the country, arguably, and you're giving up 17 points to a team from the Sun Belt. Well, the same can be said for Notre Dame. That they gave up 26. They lost 26-21 to the Sun Belt team. What gets even better is the Sun Belt team also had another team pull an upset, and Georgia Southern over Nebraska, 45-42. It was a shootout, but it led to Scott Frost being fired from Nebraska. I thought he was going to bring him back to prominence, but maybe no one can. Nebraska is not a poppin' place like USC and Miami, and that were once blue bloods and are trying to make a comeback and be as good as they once were, they have a chance because there's stuff to do in those cities and like LA and Miami and like big cities. They got NLL money all over the place. Like Nebraska is cornfields. Yeah, I heard Lincoln is pretty good, but I don't. It's not. It's not LA. It's not Miami. It's not like even like Pittsburgh is like probably a better recruiting place based off the location than Lincoln, Nebraska is. So I don't think Nebraska will ever be back to how they were, and it's sad because I think it would help college football a lot if Nebraska was back to how they used to be. I mean, they should have never fired Bo Pelini. He was great. Yeah, he was outspoken and all that some stuff, and you were tired of 9-4 seasons, but I think you had maybe one 10-win season, one 9-4 season since. Like the best you can do is maybe 8 wins. Like, come on. And you thought, and there was another crazy game, the first game of the day, College Game Day location. Texas loses to Bama 20-19. Is Texas back, or is just Bama just slacking, just having a bad day? I don't know, but Bryce Young saved Bama. If Quinn Ewers did not get hurt, does Texas win? I don't know. And I heard Hudson Card got hurt as well. He was hobbling around. And so, like, Bama shouldn't have won that game. And then you have, at the end of the game, Bama players throwing the horns down. I mean, I agree with it, horns down. But then you got Nick Saban running out saying, don't do that. I quote, don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. Well, you know what? Because he doesn't like that trash talking crap. And you just barely beat them 2019 when you should have dominated. You should have beat the brakes off of this Texas team, showed them that they're not back, but instead you give them, those Texas fans, false hope that they can hang with the big dogs and they're going to think they're back. Well, they're not. Well, actually, we'll see when they play Oklahoma under the Red River Rivalry in a couple weeks. But Bama needs to get their crap together and focus on winning games. They had way too many penalties for a Saban-led team. I could just walk out right now how heated I am about this stuff. It is pathetic. Pitt lost a close one to Tennessee. Keaton Slovis got hurt. They had a backup. Nick Patty, their backup QB, is one tough SOB. He's hobbling around, barely walking, looking like I do when my hips real sore. It was bad. He led them to overtime, but Tennessee's thing was like, we can drive the ball down the field. We don't have a hobbling quarterback in Hendon Hooker who's been making plays. And Tennessee wins 34-27 in overtime. Pitt looked good, though. I think Pitt will be a team to watch out for. They get their quarterbacks healthy, there will be one to watch out for. West Virginia lost a close one to Kansas in overtime, 55-42. The defense needs to play better for West Virginia. The offense played well, but the defense needs to do better. And I thought Kansas, coming into the season, I thought Kansas would be better than what they were in the past. But better as in maybe 3 wins instead of just 2 or 1, or like maybe make games a little more competitive. But no, they're looking like the 2007 version of Kansas. Not really, but like looking like not good of a team, the best team since 2007, when they went like 11-2 or something like that, and like could have played for the national championship. But yeah, hopefully West Virginia gets their stuff together. Baylor lost to BYU in double overtime, 26-20. I didn't watch this game, but I did see how the kicker for BYU missed 2 game-winning field goals, and the quarterback Jaron Hall was comforting him as he was crying and stuff after he like just threw the game-winning touchdown pass or something. Like, so that just shows there's a brotherhood and stuff, and hopefully both teams continue to have good success, because I think Baylor could do some good things in the Big 12 this year, and BYU obviously did well and showed that they can compete in the Big 12 when they come to it next year or the year after. I can't remember exactly what year they're joining the Big 12. Arkansas beat South Carolina 44-30. I watched like one drive of South Carolina's. I was at work when they were playing, but I watched like one drive on my lunch break, and Spencer Rattler looked good. Their offense looked pretty solid, but then you had Drew Sanders, linebacker for Arkansas, transfer from Alabama, looking like a grown ass man out there. He had some great hits, some great plays on that drive, and I don't know. Watch out for South Carolina, be a sneaky team later this year. Arkansas, they're going to be solid. They had 2 good convincing wins this year so far, and it'll be interesting to see how they do. Kentucky beat Florida 26-16 in the Swamp. Will Levis took some nasty hits. I saw the one hit, and he had his face all scratched up and stuff. But I think Florida will end up bouncing back and doing well this year. But I think Kentucky is a great program under Stoops. I can't remember. It's not Bob Stoops, but Mike Stoops maybe. I can't remember. There's like 3 Stoops brothers that coach at some point in their life. So, but I think they're a good program, and they could finish second in the SEC East behind Georgia, maybe even first if they pulled the upset against them. USC dogged Stanford 41-28. EJ Smith did good. From what I saw, Emmitt Smith's son, he did fumble a couple of times though that were costly. But like USC just had too much talent, and that was a pick I got wrong because I thought Stanford was gonna lock them down. Texas Tech beat Houston in double overtime, 33-30. Donovan Smith led in that upset. I forget what rank Houston was, but they were in the top 25 at least. But does this mean Texas Tech can compete in the Big 12? Who knows? It's a possibility. I don't know though. Some stat leaders through week 2 of college football. Some of these guys played in week 0 as well. So, Drake May for passing. Drake May is leading the Division 1 FBS. These are FBS stats. I should make that clear. Drake May from North Carolina has 930 yards passing. Nikoski Perry from FAU has 879 yards. I believe he used to go to Miami, Florida. And then you got Casey Thompson, Nebraska, 866. Davis Brin from Tulsa, 782. And the man that led the upset to fire the first coach of 2022 is Kyle Van Treese, Georgia Southern, 776 yards. I believe he transferred from Buffalo down there. I could be mistaken. Don't quote me on that. Leading the nation in rushing is Chase Brown from Illinois, 496 yards. Behind him is Anthony Grant, Nebraska, 428 yards. So Nebraska was doing good on offense, but like defense, I guess, was struggling. Nathan Carter is third from UConn, 384 yards. Fourth is Larry McCammon from FAU, 303 yards. So watch out for FAU to be a 10-win team, maybe. I'm not sure what their record is right now, but they got some studs on offense, I guess. Brad Roberts from Air Force, 288 yards, triple option offense. So it makes sense. I believe he's the fullback in their scheme. Receiving yards, Ali Jennings III from ODU, Old Dominion, 322 yards. Keelan Stokes from Tulsa has 304 yards. Rashi Rice from SMU has 298. I mean, he has Tanner Mordecai throwing him the ball. Charlie Jones from Purdue, him, Aiden O'Connell must really like him because he has 286 yards. I did see the game against Penn State, he was getting targeted a lot, it seemed. So it makes sense that in week it continued, must have continued in week two. Evan Hall from Northwestern has 268 yards, and I think that's through 3 games. I want to say actually that's how it is for the Nebraska players as well that I listed earlier because they played 3 games already, like week 0, 2, or week 0, 1, 2, 1 and 2. The top 3 tacklers in the country right now are Jackson Mitchell from UConn with 39, Cedric Gray from North Carolina with 33, Jason Henderson from ODU with 30. Sacks, top 3 sacks leaders are Gervin Hall Jr. from Utah State with 6, Jacoby Windman from Michigan State with 5.5, and Alexander Mahler from Northwestern with 5. So if those guys continue to have that good of stats for 2-3 games, they're gonna get maybe not exactly that good, but like good stats like that, they could easily get up to like 15 sacks. Like a lot of them have at least 10 more games, if like 9 to 10 games at least. Interception leader is Bentley Sanders from Nevada with 4. There was like a bunch of guys tied with that too, so I just did the top one there since it was such a big margin. So I'm gonna do 11 college games to predict this week, just like I did last week. So last week I was 4-7. So that's not very good. But for my week 3 predictions, I have number 6 Oklahoma over Nebraska. Nebraska just got their coach fired. Dylan Gabriel and the Sooners are looking good. Georgia over South Carolina. I mean, it's Georgia. Yeah, I think South Carolina could make it close, but Georgia is the new Bama. Penn State over Auburn. Number 22 Penn State over Auburn. It's at Auburn, but I feel like Penn State is just, they lost to Auburn last year at home. I feel like they're like going in wanting to upset them, and I feel like Auburn, I don't know. I don't think they're not. I think they're talented, but not like super talented this year. Number 12 BYU over number 25 Oregon. I feel like BYU is coming off a big win, emotional win. I feel like they're gonna be Bo Nix. Like, it's Bo Nix. He'll probably throw a couple interceptions. Sorry, my boy Jared. Number 16 NC State over Texas Tech. This was a hard decision, but I feel like NC State is just too good. They got like one of the best linebacking cores in the country. They got Devin Leary and those great wide receivers. I feel like they're just gonna beat Texas Tech. College game day is at App State this year, or not this year, this week, and I feel like App State's gonna beat Troy. They're coming off a huge win. I feel like they're just gonna continue that momentum and beat Troy this week. Number 13, Miami, Florida over number 24, Texas A&M. Texas A&M just got dogged at home by some Belt team. Tyler Van Dyke and Miami, they're gonna win. They're gonna run away with. I don't know if they're gonna run away with it, but they're more talented than the 2 teams that Texas A&M has played this year already, and those were real close games. So I think it's an easy pick. I have SMU over Maryland. I feel like it's going to be a shootout, but I feel like Tanner Mordecai and the Mustangs are going to pull out a victory. I have Washington over number 11 Michigan State. I was going to go with Michigan State at first, but I think it is. I think the game's in Washington, but I just feel like I just have that feeling that Washington is going to pull the upset over them. I have Notre Dame bouncing back from their tough loss and beating Cal. It's at Notre Dame. And also Monte Teo, I saw was going to be there. So he's going to hype them up and tell them that their imaginary girlfriends died or something like that. Like, what motivated him. And that was kind of a bad joke. My bad. But I feel like Notre Dame is going to win this game. Purdue is going to beat Syracuse, I believe. I just feel like Aiden O'Connell is. It's just the scheme, the passing scheme, and how good accurate he is. I feel like there's just gonna be too much for Syracuse to handle. They have Sean Tucker, but I don't think he'll end up doing like he'll have a good game, but I don't think he'll be super crazy. Um, Now moving on to some sprint car racing. Um, so the All Stars this past weekend they had the Port Royal Tuscarora 50. Night one, the top three was Anthony Macri, Danny Dietrich, and Logan Wagner. The night before the 50, which is the second night, the top three was Lance DeWeese, Brian Brown, and Chio Salzi. And the Tuscarora 50, which was 60,000 to win, the top three was Anthony Macri, who went 19th to first. Brent Marks was second. Danny Dietrich was third. And I believe Logan Wagner was fourth. So a good turnout for the posse there, the top four spots. Cy Lynch, a local guy from Western PA, he won the non-qualifier to lock into the 2023 Tuscarora 50. There was a crazy crash during the race. Dylan Cisney, he is okay after a very fiery crash, and I was watching it live, and I was worried about him not being able to get out, but he was able to pop out, and he ran, and luckily Danny Dietrich and Logan Wagner both hopped out and ran over to of their cars to run over and help put him out, and it was crazy, but like Logan Wagner slammed on his brakes so hard he spun his car around to like hop out and go help. And I saw on Twitter and also on Dirt Tracker Daily that Justin Fiedler does that Dylan Cisney actually got elected mayor of Port Royal, the borough. Like the 7 people voted unanimously for him to be the mayor, and he like showed up, and he had like I heard Justin Fiedler said he had like a what is it, a sling on his arm. But like from what I heard, he's just pretty bruised and sore and stuff, so that's good. This coming weekend on the 16th, the All Stars are at Williams Grove Speedway, and then on the 17th, which is Saturday, they're at Lincoln Speedway for the Dirt Classic. It's 20,000 to win, so you got Posse versus All Stars still. It'll be interesting. Danny Dietrich's very good at Lincoln. I'm trying to think of some other guys, but Lance DeWeese is one to watch out for at Williams Grove. Anthony Macri will probably be one to watch out for at both races. I don't know if Logan Wagner will race at either races or not. So now he usually just stays at Port Royal. Now moving on to the War of Outlaws. So they just had the Gold Cup at Silver Dollar Speedway. Prelim night one, top three was Kyle Larson, Ryan Timms, and James McFadden. Ryan Timms and Larson put on a great show, and that's very impressive because Timms is only 16 years old. Prelim night two, the top three were Carson Macedo, Jacob Allen, and Spencer Baston. And then the Gold Cup Night of Champions top three was Jacob Allen beating Logan Schuchart by 0.050 seconds. It's great because they're teammates for Shark Racing. Logan is Jacob's uncle. I mean, I think there was only like 1 or 2 years separating them. So they're both fairly young drivers. I think they're like around 30 years old or something like that. But like that's great for that. Jacob Allen's been having a phenomenal year this year, like career year. Logan Schuchart not as good. He's having not a career year, but he's having a solid year and stuff. But for the team overall, they're having a great, phenomenal year. And then Carson Macedo rounded out the podium. This weekend they're at Keller Auto Speedway for the Tom Tarleton Classic it's this Friday. So that'll be a good race. The top three in points is Brad Sweet. For Outlaw points is Brad Sweet. David Gravel's behind him 72 points behind, and Carson Macedo is behind 98 points. Um, Moving on to the USAC. Gonna go over the national midgets and the national sprints. But so first, we're gonna go over the national midgets. They were at Sweet Springs Motor Sports Complex in Missouri on the 9th and 10th. Night one, top three was Cannon McIntosh, Brenham Crouch, Zach Daum. Night two, the top three was Buddy Ford, Dason Pursley. It's nice to see he's back and doing good after, I believe, was it last December or this past January that he had a scary crash and had to do a lot of rehab, and he broke some stuff in his like back and stuff. Scary crash, but it's good to see that he's doing well. And then Zach Daum rounded out the podium again on night two, so he had a really good weekend, finishing third both nights. The points top two, I only did the points top two because it was so close, and like everybody else was kind of farther back. Buddy Ford is leading Justin Grant. For the national sprint cars, they did not race this past weekend, but they'll be at Circle City Raceway in Indiana on the 16th and Tri-State Speedway in Indiana on the 17th. The top four in points currently are Justin Grant, Brady Bacon, CJ Leary, and Robert Ballou, all within about 150 points. And there was like the fifth place person was pretty close to. I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Emerson Axum actually, but he was like 200 some away from Justin Grant. Now moving on to the ASCS. So they had a pretty busy weekend, and they raced Tuesday night as well. When I was watching it as I was typing it up. So they were at Lakeside Speedway in Kansas on the 8th. The top three was Sam Hafertepe Jr., Garrett Williamson, and Jason Martin. They were at Caney Valley Speedway in Kansas on the 10th. The top three was Seth Bergman, Matt Covington, and Blake Hahn. Then on the 13th, which was Tuesday, they were at Clay County Fair Speedway in Iowa. The top three was Tim Crawley, Blake Hahn, and Wayne Johnson. They're at Lucas Oil Speedway in Missouri the 15th, so tonight actually, to the 17th. The points top two, because it was the only two that can win the championship are the top two, is Blake Hahn leading Wayne Johnson. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about local racing. Dog Hollow Speedway has a sprint car race on the 16th, so tomorrow night. I can't remember how much I want to say I saw somewhere it was 5,000 to win, but I could be wrong. I think I saw Danny Smith and Scotty Thiel are going to be there. They will also be at Lernerville Speedway on Saturday for the Commonwealth Clash. So will McKenna Hassey or Hassey, I don't know how to say her name. And it will be a fast series race. It's 10,000 to win, 1,000 to start. So that'll be interesting to watch, and probably great racing. Then at Knox Raceway on Sunday, it's another fast series race, 4,000 to win, 350 to start. They also will have the rush sprints. So that'll be a good race as well, and that's $800 to win. They have some other classes as well, but some Scotty Thiel, Danny Smith, and McKenna Hassey will also be at Knox as well, I believe. Watch out for Cy Lynch and AJ Flick at those races. All three of them, they've been doing. AJ Flick's been going off this year, and Cy Lynch is always fast. Watch out for Blaze Myers and Chad Rollman in the rush sprints. Blaze is having a really good career year. Chad Rollman's just always kind of pretty good. He's won the championship all 4 or 5 years that the series been a thing. And that so that's pretty much it for the episode. If like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, uh, follow and rate 5 stars on Spotify. Hopefully, sometime soon, I would like try to line up a guest to actually go back to having a guest on each episode. And if I do consistently kind of get a guest, I might go to maybe like two episodes a week or something, so that I can still do like the football stuff and that. But we'll see how that goes. Um, I might even just do like small bonus episodes or whatever. But other than that, that's it for this episode. Stay safe out there and have a great weekend.